and they clash and they conflict with many other authentic narrations that are clearly authentic and that are right to the point, that show us and prove to us the permissibility and in certain instances the recommendation of eating until one is full. Other narrations of the Prophet ﷺ which are authentic, which teach us, which allow us to eat, to drink, and to reach a level of fullness. From those hadiths is the famous narration of Jabir ibn Abdullah radiallahu ta'ala anhuma in Sahih Bukhari. On the day of the Battle of the Trench, the 4th year of the Hijrah, the Prophet ﷺ and his companions, they ate off of one baby goat, one baby lamb, a small animal. 10 companions entered into the house, they ate. فَأَكَلُوا وَشَبِعُوا. Then they left. Another 10 went in, فَأَكَلُوا وَشَبِعُوا. They ate and they became full. And there was over 70 people mentioned. And even more than that, perhaps in some other variations of this hadith, in which all of them ate and became full. Another authentic narration is that of Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala in Sahih Bukhari as well. The poor companions who lived in the masjid, Ashab al-Suffah, the Sahaba who didn't have a place to go. They didn't have a home. They weren't married. They didn't have their own values and material possessions, like a shelter in the masjid. And they had a porch, a suffah. And from those companions who left off the worldly life, left their family behind, who sacrificed just for the purpose of hijrah and the purpose of seeking knowledge, was Abu Hurairah. And Abu Hurairah was from the men who lived in the suffah. He lived in the masjid. So one day the Prophet ﷺ wanted to treat the companions and treat Abu Hurairah and treat Ashab al-Suffah, the companions who lived in the masjid. And he brought them fresh milk to drink. Fresh milk. So he gave Abu Hurairah a gauntlet to drink, and he drank the milk. And he gave him a second, and a third, and a fourth. And each and every time Abu Hurairah would push the cup back. He said, "Oh Messenger of Allah, I'm full. I can't drink anymore." And you would say, "Ishrab ya Abu Hurairah. Ishrab ya Abu Hir." He says, "Oh Father of the King. Oh Abu Hurairah, drink. And drink and drink and drink more." And Abu Hurairah, he said, he swore by Allah, he said, "La ajida lahu maslakan." He says, "There's no spot in my belly." And the Prophet, he told him to drink even more, to drink more of the fresh milk. And we have the famous narration inside Bukhari as well, the hadith of Anas, the Sulaim, with regards to the companions eating, and there are many other narrations in which the Prophet ﷺ allowed his companions to eat, and not to eat, but to eat until they became full. Let alone the famous narration regarding the Eid and the Eid prayer, specifically that of Al-Adha, not Eid al-Fitr. The Prophet says, "Ayyamu tashriq, ayyamu aklin, shurbin, wa dhikrillah." That the days of the Eid, when it comes to the second Eid, are days of eating, drinking, and remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we can go on and on and on about the permissibility of eating and the permissibility of eating until one is full. Now some of the scholars of Islam, they say, due to the fact that there are different narrations, let alone foreign concepts upon Islam. Some people, they take cultural values or values of a monastic lifestyle. Don't eat, don't drink, be weak, and be poor. Don't enjoy Allah's blessings. They say that eating is of 5 types, 5 levels, 5 rulings. Number 1, there's a type of eating and a time of eating, and which is wajib. You have to eat. And that is the food that prevents you from death. That is the food that prevents you from disrespecting Allah's amana, Allah's trust. Allah gave you a mind, He gave you a body, and He gave you a soul. And you are to protect it and keep it safe. And you can't do that if you starve yourself to death. And it's one of the reasons why the Prophet ﷺ forbade the companions, we saw, from fasting back to back to back to back without breaking their fast. Because it weakens the body and may lead to destruction. The second level of eating is a type of eating or place or an amount which is recommended. It isn't obligatory, but it's recommended. And that is the food and the drink that you enjoy to perform extra acts of worship, to seek knowledge, to work to provide for your family. You have a good strong breakfast in the morning, A good strong breakfast in the morning. Not bleached flour, but whole wheat pancakes. You have something nourishing that sticks to your stomach, that allow you to go out and seek Allah's lawful rizq and feed your family and take care of your children. Or seek ilm. Some foods are superfoods. They give you a great deal of energy and stamina and sharpness of the mind. That's recommended to eat like that. And then there's a level of eating which is mubah. It's mubah. It's unprescribed. If you want to eat a little, eat a little. You want to eat a lot, eat a lot. You want to eat until you're full from time to time, less. And then there's a time in which it's makruh, it's disliked to eat. And that is eating until you become past the necessary amount of food. There's no reason to eat this much. There's no reason to gorge you, to stuff yourself to this point. And that's when Allah says haram. The time which is haram to eat. And that is when you eat until your health is harmed. Whether it's diabetes, cancer, your blood sugar. A type of eating in which you can't get up and pray. You have to sleep. And there are many people of the past, kings, rulers, and emperors, who died because they had eaten so much. They ate themselves to death. So that's unlawful. So the hadith of Abi Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the hadith that we mentioned to you from Sahih Bukhari, from the chain of narration of Ismail, from Abi Sinat, from Al-A'raj, from Abu Hurairah, that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, يأكل المسلم في مِنْعٍ واحد والكافر في سبعة أمعاء. He says the Muslim, and other narrations of this hadith, it says the believer, he eats in one stomach, one belly, one vessel, one intestines. وَالْكَافِرُ, and another narration says وَالْمُنَافِقُ, the hypocrite, or the disbeliever, they are those who eat in 7 intestines. They have 7 stomachs, like a cow, or even more than that, or less than that. However, this hadith, it gives us a problem. And that is when we have 2 dead bodies. One of a Muslim, and one of a kafir. One who professed La ilaha Muhammad Rasulullah, and another who said that Jesus is the Son of Allah. Or he believes in idols and deities and gods and spirits. Or I have no religion, I have no faith. Whatever his faith was, he's not a Muslim. If it's not Islam, then it's of no value. Inna deen inda Allah Islam. Allah says that the religion to Allah, with Allah, is nothing more than Islam. وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Allah tells us, and those who want faith and religion besides Islam, it should never be accepted from them. No matter how kind you are, how righteous, how benevolent, how much of a good neighbor you are, a good community member you are, certain Muslims, or non-Muslims may be better than some Muslims, unfortunately, and how they conduct themselves and how they behave. But if it's other than Islam, then it is of no value. Whatever name it is, if it's not Islam, it's of no value. And Allah says, and then hereafter, you will be from the losers. Allah says, وَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالْإِيمَانِ فَقَدْ حَبِطَ عَمَلُهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. In the 3rd verse, Allah says, whoever disbelieves in Iman, his deeds are null and void, no use. And he will be from the losers in the hereafter. So if you took a Muslim's body and a non-Muslim's body, and you dissected their bodies and opened up their stomachs, their midsections, you will find they have the same amount of intestines, the same organs, the same internal organs. Rather, you may find illness, sickness, waste, there may be more in the body of the Muslim instead of that of the non-Muslim. So what does this hadith mean? That the Muslim eats in one stomach and the kafir eats in 7. يَأْكُلُ الْمُسْلِمُ فِي مِعٍ وَاحِدٍ وَالْكَافِرُ فِي سَبْعَةٍ أَمْعَاءٍ. It says that the Muslim eats out of 1 intestine and the kafir eats out of 7. What does this mean? What is the Prophet's expression in this hadith? Some of the ulama of Islam, they say that the hadith is literal. It's literal and it is not figurative and it is what it says. And others, they say it is a metaphor or a simile or a parable or an example for the believer who suffices himself with food. And he doesn't gorge, he doesn't pig out, he doesn't stuff himself. He eats what's necessary. And also the things that pertain to the stomach and outside of the stomach. And we know in the Quran, in the Hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, there are many things that are based off of eating and the belly. But they're not talking about eating and they're not talking about the belly. Allah says, الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ الرِّبَا لَا يَقُومُونَ إِلَّا كَمَا يَقُومُ الَّذِي يَتَخَبَّطُهُ الشَّيْطَانُ مِنَ الْمَسِّ ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ قَالُوا إِلَى آخِرِ الْآيَةِ. Allah says, those who eat riba, they will only stand on the day of judgment, they'll be resurrected like they're possessed with the devil and a demon, like they need an exorcism. And there are people who eat riba, who drive in riba, who sleep upon riba, who wear riba, who have fun with riba. The riba is much more than just eating in your stomach. Us in our culture, when someone's getting money, someone is affluent, someone is rich, someone is successful, you say, I'm doing what? You say, I'm eating. I'm doing what? I'm eating. And you know much more than just what? Than eating. But the general expression of benefiting from wealth is oftentimes used as what? Eating. So they say this hadith means that the believer suffices himself. And others, they say that the believer only eats from the halal, and the non-believer eats from the haram. So the believer has one stomach, meaning rizq tayyib, nothing more. If it's from alcohol, if it's from the flesh of swine, pornography, if it's from things that are displeasing to Allah and His Messenger, I don't have nothing to do with it. Stocks and bonds that are haram, financial dealings, I don't have nothing but it's going to make your money grow. In 5 years, in 10 years, your business will soar, skyrocket. I don't have anything to do with it if it isn't pleasing to Allah and His Messenger. And the kafir eats out of 7 stomachs. Give me the flesh of swine to sell. I'll sell the alcohol. I'll sell the drugs. I'll sell the pornographic movies. I'll deal with the lottery. I'll deal with the bonds and the stocks and the haram types of investment. It doesn't matter as long as I get whatever I need to get. And others, they say that the Prophet ﷺ was speaking about one person specifically and not in general. And in narration that support this, Abdullah ibn Umar anhuma, every time he had lunch, he would bring someone to eat with him. He would never eat his lunch by himself. How many of you are like this? When you enjoy your meal, your fresh meal, how many poor people are eating with you? When's the last time, if I asked you, that a poor person was in your house? When's the last time a poor person ate from your plate? Not a rich person, but a poor person. So Ibn Umar, every meal, he would have a miskin person eating with him. And wallahi, there were many people like this we saw in Medina. Men that were filthy rich, whether it was from oil money or other than oil money. And every day, their house was open. And anyone and everyone could come and eat the finest of camel meat and drink the freshest of camel milk. Poor, rich, wealthy, black, white, yellow, red, Saudi, non-Saudi. Everyone could come in his house and eat every single day. So they say that Ibn Umar, he had a miskin person with him each and every day. And one day a man came upon him and he ate, and he ate, and he ate, and he ate. And Ibn Umar, he told Nafi or others, he says, don't bring this person back to me again because he eats so much. And then he mentioned the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that the Muslim and the believer eats out of one stomach. And the disbeliever eats out of 7 stomachs. So obviously, if a person is a kafir and they accept Islam, their stomach is going to be the same. So that's not necessarily what the Prophet ﷺ meant, but it's something that was deeper than that. And all of those meanings, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, are applicable. The Muslim suffices himself. The Muslim only eats from the halal. The Muslim is never greedy. The Muslim never wishes to steal and cheat and snatch what's in the next man's hand just to fill his stomach. And there are many, many other narrations, brothers and sisters in Islam, about eating, about the stomach, about the belly, and about the lust, and how people go and burn in the fire of hell because of their bellies, because they're uncontrollable and insatiable appetites. Abu Hurairah, he narrated in the Jami' of Imam al-Tirmidhi that the Prophet ﷺ was once asked, "Ma akthar ma yudkhilu nas al-jannah?" What is the most frequent, common reason behind people going to paradise? What is the most frequent and common reason behind people going to Jannah? He said, "Taqwallahi wa husnul khuluq." He says it is the fear of Allah and good character. وَسُئِلَ عَنْ أَكْثَرِ مَا يُدْخِلُ النَّاسَ النَّارَ وَلِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ. And he was asked about the opposite. What is the most frequent and common way of people going to the fire of hell? He said, Al-famu wal-farj. He says it's the mouth and it is the private area. The mouth and the private area are desires. And there are other hadiths that connect the private part and the belly together. So the Muslim is one who enjoys Allah's favors, enjoys Allah's bounties. And he knows that Allah Azza wa Jalla, He said, Ya bani Adam, khudhu zinatakum inda kulli masjid. وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا إِنَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. Allah says, O children of Adam, O progeny, O offspring, O daughters, and O sons of Adam, cover yourselves, protect yourselves, hide your beauty and your adornment when you wish to pray. Eat, drink, and do not be excessive. Do not be extravagant. Do not go beyond the necessary boundaries. For Allah loveth not those who exceed the boundaries. Allah loveth not those who exceed the boundaries. And this is relative and this is subjective. Some brothers are thin, such as myself. Some brothers are muscular. Some are big. Some of our brothers may be a bit heavy. Some are short. Some are tall. Some eat a lot. Some eat a little bit. Some of the skinny brothers, they eat like horses, they say. They don't gain a pound. And then other brothers who eat just a little bit and they gain some weight. Everyone is different. Everyone's stomach is different. What's important is your culture. What's important is your time and your place. What's important is your budget. These are the things which determine when a person is being extravagant. These are the things that determine when a person is being excessive and when a person is being a greedy hog. And it's eating and drinking, eating and drinking, eating and drinking. And the same applies to one's money and to one's wealth. I have a house, I need another. I need a third, a mansion, a car. I have sexual intercourse with my wife. That's not enough. I need a girlfriend. I need a partner. I need a female friend with benefits. It's not enough to have a halal. It's not enough. I can't suffice myself with a halal. As Allah Azza wa Jalla, He says, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ إِلَّا عَلَى أَزْوَاجِهِمْ أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مَلُومِينَ فَمَنِ ابْتَغَىٰ وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْعَادُونَ. Allah says that those who protect their chastity, they're chaste. They're chaste. They protect their private parts, except from their wives, or that which their right hands possess. There is no sin upon them and enjoying the permissible things. Those who need more, who want more, it's not enough of these things, then they are the transgressors. And the scholars of Islam, they say, from the harms of zina, and from the harms of infidelity, from the harms of a person cheating, is that in most cases his wife will cheat as well. His wife will be unchaste as well. And that's because if you don't find sufficiency in the halal, you don't have no desire to go to your wife. It's boring, it's basic, it's simple. I need something more than that, something with no values and no parameters. So when you're making zina, you don't want to go to your wife too much. And what happens when your wife, her desires are not fulfilled in a permissible manner? Then, as they say, you know you're wrong when you don't get it at home. It's a famous cliche in our culture. So if you're not protecting your private part, you get a double sin by not protecting your wife's private part. So the believer is always pleased, satisfied with what Allah Azza wa Jalla gives him or her. Pertaining to eating, drinking, pertaining to one's desires, and most importantly pertaining to the dinar, the money, the cheese, the cream, the chicken, the scratch, the mullah, the bread. The Prophet ﷺ, he tells us, لِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ فِتْنَةٍ وَفِتْنَةُ أُمَّةِ الْمَالِ. He says every nation has a major infatuation. Every ummah has a major problem. And the major problem of my nation is money. A person will sell his deen for money. A person will sell his honor for money. A person will get on the floor and bow to another human being for money. A person will waste himself for money. A person will sell drugs to his own mother. Can we realize this? Maybe some of you have seen this. Maybe some of you used to do this. And the Lord guided you to Islam. We've seen this with these two eyes. It's not a joke. Sell drugs to his own mother. Sell drugs to his own neighbor. Sell drugs to the person that lives right next door to him for nothing more than money. Money is the root of all evil, as we said. The Prophet, he tells us every ummah has a fitna. And the fitna of our nation is money. So how many brothers became lost? They were melted. They were broken into pieces and shattered because of money, because of a woman, because of food. Allah says that the devil, Satan, he threatens you with poverty. You're going to be poor. You're going to be broke. You have to shave your beard. You have to take off your hijab. You have to take the riba alone. You have to drop out of school. You can't. How are you going to take care of yourself? How are you going to feed your family? It's the whispers of the shaitan. And he commands you to do fahsha, evil and illicit deeds, evil and lewd acts. But Allah Azza wa Jalla, He promises you maghfiratan, forgiveness, and bounty from Him. So ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to allow us to eat and to drink from His bounties and from His pleasures, from the things that He has given us, but to suffice ourselves and not to transgress the boundaries in any lust or any means of desire. Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah ta'ala, they said that he was a good friend with Imam Ahmed. So one day he went over to Imam Ahmed's house. And obviously Shafi'i was a living legend. He had a reputation, he had a name. So people were looking at him and they were watching him. So when he went over to Imam Ahmad's house, they say, they paid attention and they observed what he did. And they noticed that Imam Shafi'i did 3 things, 3 strikes. All of them were considered bad. All of them were considered a means of vice. No virtue. The first thing that Shafi'i did is that he ate the food of Ahmed until his stomach was full. He ate a lot. And the second thing that Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah did is that he stayed up all night. Whether he didn't pray or whether he didn't go to sleep, he stayed up all night. And the third thing that the Shafi'i did is that when Fajr came, he never performed wudu. So they said, this is Muhammad ibn Idris, this is Shafi'i that you guys talk about and brag about, glory about, this is him. And they went to him and they said, how could you eat so much? Stay up all night and then don't make wudu in the morning time. He says, don't be so hasty. As far as me eating so much, then he says, Imam Ahmad's food is the best food that I come across. I only see Imam Ahmad so often. So when I come over his house and he invites me, I make sure I fill my stomach up. He says, as far as me staying up all night, then I stood up and I pondered on the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Ya Aba Umayr, ma fa'ala Nughayr. The Prophet said to the young man from the Sahaba, he said, oh Abu Umayr, what did the bird do? What did the bird do? He had a bird in a cage and the bird died. He says, I deduced over 70 benefits from this one hadith, 70 fiqh rulings. And as far as me not making wudu when Fajr came in, he says, I never broke my wudu all night. I was upon wudu, I was upon tahara while I was studying and seeking ilm. It's permissible to eat sometime and to enjoy certain things. But it has to be something that you put back into your ibadah and into your lives. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salatullahi wa salamu ala ibadihi alladhina istafa. Amma ba'd. From the etiquettes of eating and drinking, from the things that we all should be doing on this day. You visit your family, you visit your friends, you visit your neighbors, you have food in the masjid. First and foremost, is to realize that the food is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the food does not come from your wealth, ya akhi. It doesn't come from your strength. It doesn't come from your know-how. It doesn't come from your ingenious working and your work ethic. It only came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah feeds and Allah is never fed. And if Allah had willed, He would have made you starving. Your belly wouldn't be caved in. It wouldn't be skinny. Starving people have expanded bellies. That's the sign of someone who's starving on the other hand. Allah could have made you like that. So realize that the food is a blessing. And if the food is a blessing, how can I use it to disobey Allah? How can I use it to become further from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Secondly, is that make sure you mention Allah's name. How many Muslims, you sit with them, they eat and they don't say Bismillah. They don't say Bismillah. Whether it is obligatory or whether it's highly recommended, mention Allah's name. And when you mention Allah's name, the shayateen go away. And within that time, you get the barakah from the food. From the etiquettes of eating and drinking is to eat with the right hand and not with the left hand. To eat with the right hand and not with the left hand. And there are many wisdoms in eating with the right hand. From them is opposing shaitan and going against the shaitan. And the Prophet ﷺ tells us, in the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar and the Muslim Imam Ahmad, وَمَنْ تَشَبَّهَ بِقَوْمٍ فَهُوَ مِنْهُمْ. He who imitates people is from those people. He who imitates someone is from that person. So he who imitates the shaitan is from the shaitan. So we're prohibited from imitating the kuffar and the mushrikeen and the munafiqeen. How about the king of the kuffar? The king of the mushrikeen, their head, their chief, Iblis, and he eats with his left. He drinks with his left. Takes and gives with his left. Another important wisdom of eating with the right hand is to honor the right side. And use your left side for things that are ignoble. Cleaning yourself, washing yourself, etc. And you can wash your left hand. My left hand is clean. There's nothing on it. But the Prophet ﷺ, the ulama, they say, he wanted to look after the minds of the Muslims, the psychology of the Muslim. And for you to eat something with a hand that you clean yourself and wash yourself and do ignoble things with, it's going to have an effect upon your mind. Even though my hand is what? It's clean. But the sheer fact, waste, dirt, unclean things, it doesn't suit the mind of the believer. And that's a tremendous wisdom. That the believer's mind has to be sound and has to be healthy. Also from the etiquettes of eating and drinking, brothers and sisters, is that only eat from that which is in front of you. Don't reach across the plate. Don't grab across the dish or the platter unless it's different types of food. If you're in a fruit salad, in front of you are grapes, you want a piece of pineapple, not best. You want a strawberry or a honeydew, cantaloupe, not best. But if it's one type of food, Eat from that which is in front of you. Another etiquette of eating and drinking is not to make fun of your brother. Not to make fun of your brother and mock your brother with regards to eating. You eat a lot. You eat like a horse. You eat like a cow. Why aren't you eating? Are you anorexic? Are you starving yourself? Why don't you eat? Eat some food. You're too skinny. You're too this. You're too that. Do not injure your brother's feelings. And it may be a joke, but your brother may be hurting inside while you're making fun of him from not eating or eating too much. Because everyone's stomach is different. Everyone's metabolism is what? It's different. Another very important etiquette of eating and drinking is that eating and drinking is never just the final goal, but it's nothing more than a means of something that is higher and more elevated, and that is ibadah, worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, physically, mentally, and spiritually. I ask Allah to enjoy your delicious food on this day. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring you together with your friends and your families on this blessed day. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you the barakah in every meal that you enjoy during this day. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa aqim as-salat.